Atochin chitab Kalenjin ketestai ak tetutiet nebo Kass Mashinani en ngunon kemoche ketokyingei taonit nebo Nakuru ole testai igorto nebo lumdaetab labatetab kenyini notok bo Mau Forest Marathon netetat keyai en tarikit 24 nebo arawani. Indochin labatanoton Ministry nebo Environment en kibagenge ak kibagengeit noton bo Athletics Kenya akotokyingei ribet nebo osnetab Mau. Miten komosatak sinonyo nebo logoiwek Sylvester Ron ako kimoche kenyorun ng'alalet netestai en tuyonotok.
For generations, the Mau has been more than just a forest. It's been a farce.
As that is coming, Your Excellency, I was just thinking in my head, how many of us have had a chance to go to the Mau? Kuna watu wa Nairobi, umetoka Nairobi hawajaienda. How many of us have had, okay, let me ask the question better. How many of us come from the Mau? Clap for them. How many of us have been to the Mau? Oh, that's good. How many of us have never been to the Mau? You see? Yeah. So that means that today's event is even awareness creation in itself. So I'll request the media team, please bring on the presentation. It's fine. We'll watch the documentary later in the interest of time. It's a nice piece. It has Raya saying what the forest means to them, what has happened over time, and we will for sure find a place for it before we finish. So media, please, are you able to bring the presentation on? So the people who've not been to the Mau, we invite you. When we were at the governor's office, she remarked that this appears to be a month of environment and for the Mau. So we have so many visits lined up. If you've not had a chance to go there, this would be your month. Still not coming? Okay. So the wider program, I think let me give the dates as we wait. The wider program shall be launched by His Excellency the President on 24th October 2025 in Baringo Primary School in Kuresoi North. On 23rd of October 2025, the Head of Public Service shall officially launch the tree growing component of the program in Gasharage Forest Block in Kuresoi. On 16th of October 2025, we shall have Her Excellency the First Lady launching the adoption of blocks for the program in Bararget Forest Station. On 15th of October, am I allowed to say that, sir? We shall have Her Excellency the Governor leading the adoption of blocks in Bararget Forest Station. On 10/10, which is Mazingira Day, you must have seen the ministry saying to Rudy, have you seen that? Hashtag, sisi tu wa Nairobi ndio tuko nayo. Ministry wamesema turudi primo. Have you seen that? We all go back to our primary schools. We go and plant our trees in our primary schools. And that's exactly what we shall be doing on 10/10. So it's a high octane of events. So please mark your calendars. I hope I made a good pitch for those days as we were waiting for the presentation, which is now here. And like I've said, the name of the project is MFC iClip for Gen Zs and the people who don't want to say many things. What's important there, Your Excellency, are 3 words: conservation, livelihood improvement, and the integration. I told the members of parliament when they came to see the PS that I used to think politicians are very bad people. Because as professionals, we would go to the forests with KFS and plant trees. Very nice. But if they take the mic one day and speak, some of the effort we put would not be seen. I used to think they were bad until the day I learned that we were missing that integration word. We were just planting trees, we didn't make sense, we were not addressing livelihoods. And that's why now the patron of this program has introduced livelihood improvement and made this to be an integrated program. So the important words there are integration, conservation, and livelihood improvement. Let's move. And of course, just before you move, of course, the program is contributing to the 15 billion tree planting campaign. You can see the logo of Kenya Forest Service there, because 50% of the work delivered is the work of Kenya Forest Service. And then at the far right, you will see the logo of the program MFC iClip. Let's move. I'll be quick because the documents are on your table. So that's, Your Excellency, just the overview of the Mau Forest. It's called a complex because it is. It is made up of 21 forest blocks. So all these that you see here, they're in the document, I'm sure you can see it in finer print, are the blocks that make up the Mau Forest complex. Of course, it's an important ecosystem because it's the largest water tower in Kenya. It covers approximately 403,000 hectares. If you were to contextualize that against the land you hold, this is 403,000 hectares. So it's the largest water tower. It spans across 6 counties, peripherally in Uasin Gishu, Nandi and Baringo, but largely in Nakuru, in Kericho, in Bomet, and in Narok. Like I've said, Your Excellency, it's comprised of 22 forest blocks. 21 of these are managed by Kenya Forest Service because they are public forests. But this one here, the 22nd, is formerly a trust land. It's now a community forest under the county government of Narok. Let's move. The importance of the MFC. The people from there would tell us much more. But just as a top-level summary, it's important to the local community in many ways. One, it's that it's a source of water for their different users, including domestic farming and livestock. It also is tied to the enterprises and the agricultural activities that they run. Of course, it's also a rich cultural heritage for communities that live here. But nationally, like I've said, it's the largest water tower. For the people in energy, it contributes 600 megawatts of the hydropower that we have in Sondu Miriu. And it's also important, Your Excellency, because it sustains key ecosystems. The Masai Mara wildebeest crossing cannot be there if we don't have the Mau, because the very river they cross, the source is where we are talking about. So of course, if you thought about Masai Mara, but closer home, our nice Lake Nakuru, the home of flamingos. The source of Lake Nakuru and the nice flamingos we see and brand ourselves with as a county, the source is the Mau. And many other uses, but let's move very fast in the interest of time. Of course, the Lake Victoria Basin, let me not even start talking about them. The water that goes to Lake Victoria comes from the Mau. So Your Excellency, when you saw the President launching the Grand Renaissance Dam in Egypt, in Ethiopia, in the climate summit, that dam would not be there if it wasn't for this water, Bararget Hapa. It's the source of River Nile. And you can think about it from Ethiopia to South Sudan to Egypt and so forth. I've said about Masai Mara, and the uses are many. Let me not spend a whole day here to talk about it. Just a snippet, Your Excellency, of the flows of those rivers I'm speaking about. So this one that you see here is the one that goes to River Mara. This is actually the River Mara. And the source is the Mau. This is the one that goes to Lake Natron, which is the only breeding site for the lesser flamingos in the world. And this, let's go back a bit. And these are the major sources that goes to Lake Victoria in the dam I was speaking about. And then this is the one that goes to Lake Baringo, and then this is the one that goes to Lake Tarkwel. So that's basically the importance of this Mau. I know when we come from there, sometimes we don't think it's too important, but it is. We could speak about its importance until the cows come home. But let's move. With that importance, it's facing a lot of threats. And those of you who come from there would know it better. Of course, we have challenges on legislation and institutional frameworks, but also closer home, we have cases of illegal charcoal production. And I didn't mention anyone. Yeah, we have extensive illegal charcoal production. But fortunately, those users have now been converted to stakeholders of this program. Their chairperson used to be Mheshimiwa Kuresoi North. They've been converted, and now they are paying for their, did you call it sins another time? Yes. That's their contribution to this program. We have cases of overharvesting of wood fuel, overgrazing, land use changes, and so many others. But the bottom line, Your Excellency, is that because of those challenges, we have lost significant amount of forest cover over the years. And it's impacting on land use changes, it's impacting on riparian land, and it's giving us issues of water pollution and affecting the local community. Well, let's move. This is the inspiration that Engineer Dr. Festus Ngeno got, so that he's inspiring all of us and calling all of us to action through the MFC iClip program. Let's move. So the program is a 10-year program. It's huge. It's a 10-year program. And conservation being expensive, it's a cost of about 21.5 billion. But so that it is targeted, the PS is not starting with the 22 forest blocks. He's starting with the 4 forest blocks of Eastern, Molo, Western, and Southwest, together with the farmlands therein. So administratively, they would fall in Joro, they would fall in Molo, they fall in Kuresoi South and Kuresoi North. So 4 forest blocks, 4 sub-counties for the start. Let's move. We've done a picture so that you have a picture of this. This is Eastern Mau, the first block, that is Molo, that's Western Mau, this is Southwest. And in here are the communities in Kuresoi North, in Kuresoi South, in Molo, and in Joro constituency. Let's move. So the general objective of the project to restore and sustainably manage the MFC using an integrated conservation and livelihood improvement approach that enhances ecosystem functionality and strengthens climate resilience. Let's move. It has 5 specific objectives. I shall show you at the component level. Let's move. Of course, it's aligned to the national and international priorities, from the ones of climate change, from the ones of Afri 100, but closer home, the 15 billion tree planting campaign led by His Excellency the President. Let's move. So the objectives have been translated to program components. That's why today we planted 5 trees, Your Excellency, to signify the 5 program components. The first is where all the tree growing shall happen. We are calling it sustainable landscape management. And this is tree growing in forest land, in wetlands, in riparian lands, in schools, and in farmlands. The second is now what politicians like, which we used to miss as conservationists. Community livelihood improvement program. And this is where maneno ya raia na pesa mfukoni, ile yenye rais anasema kwa better, inaingia. This is where they will be focused on the value chains that are prevalent there: dairy, milk, potato, avocado, sunflower, and there's a long list that waziri wa agriculture alinipatia. Then the third is important to the Ministry of Environment, and DG Mamo is here. I'm not saying you're the manager of waste, but number 3 is dealing about waste management, circular economy. Number 4 is on environmental education and research. And then the last is looking at project governance, coordination, and resource mobilization. I want to stress, Your Excellency, just before, that here in environmental education and awareness, one of the most powerful tools we are using is sports and talent development. And that is where the marathon falls, in an attempt to infuse sports into conservation, to raise awareness in that respect. Let's move. So we have targets for 10 years. You know, the patron is an engineer. He thinks numbers, he thinks structure and organization. So in 10 years, what does the program want to achieve? In the tree growing targets, we did a mapping of all the forest 4 blocks. and established that the degraded land amounts to 33,138 hectares, which is the aim of this program, that by the 10th year, we will have restored the entire of the degraded areas in the 4 forest blocks. And it's huge work, because 1 hectare, we use 1,000 hectares, 1,000 trees to restore. So if you work out those numbers, again, working with an engineer of numbers, times 1,000, we are looking at about 3.3 million seedlings. Sorry, you're looking at about 33 million. Let me declare I'm not a mathematics person. My professor is there. She taught me environmental science. So we are looking at about 33 million tree seedlings in 10 years. Of course, to fence off the very fragile forest boundaries with the advice of Kenya Forest Service, to establish 200 kilometers of socio-economic buffer zones, which is what Nyayo T-Zones does, protect wetlands, restore wetlands. We have about 143,000 hectares to be put under sustainable land management practices. We shall also carry out tree growing in 535 schools across the 4 sub-counties. And this is important to the women rep. I remember her asking us the first time she came, providing alternative energy. Because in the documentary you will see, raia say, sisi hatukujua tulikuwa tunamaliza msitu, tulikuwa tunaendea. Tulikuwa tunaendea? Oh, there were fewer women in the room. Usually they get it. Wanasema sisi hatukujua ni msitu tulikuwa tunamaliza. Ni kuni tu. So the work in that component shall be to provide alternative sources of energy. Clean cooking, including biogas and solar, but also improved cook stoves and others. Water harvesting, it's interesting that this area provides water for everyone, including the Nile, but they don't have major rivers. But instead, they are blessed with 206 colonial dams. We have mapped. Those water panziles are wazungu, but some of them require rehabilitation. So in this component, there shall be rehabilitation of those water pans, but together with distribution of water tanks to schools and households, but also
ak noton chitab Kalenjin ko igorta netestai en taonitab Nakuru netokyingei lumdaetab labatet nebo Mau Forest Marathon. Notok ko nekitokyingei keboisien kekanapta ribetab osnet notok bo Mau. Kitestai kesubi notok asikeweken yotet testai ng'alalutik chebo toek chemiten komosato, toek chebo kauntit, kobaten nguni ketokyinigei bunge nebo National Assembly. Testai ng'alalet en bunge notok bo National Assembly netinyegei ak keljinoik ak melekwek chekikochin rwoik ak urerenik alak chebo emetab Kenya kasarta nekaimuch kobelis en ureriosiek terter chebo ng'wonduni. Ako notok konaat ko reward scheme for accomplishment by sports person in international competitions. Notok ko cheng'e MPs chebo emoni ko cheng oret notok nechulat nekiboisien kikochi melekwek anan ko zawadi biik alak tugul chebo emetab Kenya chekokiyokto koba nekoto biikab emoni koba kobois anan korwai anan kourerenso en ureriosiek cheterter chebo ng'wony komugul. Kinyoru ng'alalet netestai en bunge notok bo National Assembly.
Courtesy call on the Speaker of the National Assembly, accompanied by the chairpersons of the Departmental Committee on Defense, Intelligence and Foreign Relations and Trade, Industry and Cooperatives. Honorable members, on my behalf and that of the National Assembly, I welcome them to Parliament and wish them fruitful engagements during their stay in the country. I thank you. This is a communication by the substantive speaker, the Right Honorable Dr. Moses FM Wetangula EGH MP and Speaker of the National Assembly. There is great interest on this motion. I'm informed that the time for debating it has lapsed under the standing orders. In fact, Honorable Chanda just ended it on the last second. And so it is now time for the mover to reply. No doubt, under standing order number 1, I will allow the mover to make donations if he wishes of his time. The mover, please now proceed and reply.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, before I speak, I would like to donate 8 minutes to the following members who have requested me formally. Karoli Omont was supposed to speak. I will donate 1 minute. Didi Nyoro, my brother, I will donate 1 minute. Jalango, 1 minute. Julius, 1 minute. Eric Karemba, 1 minute. Mary Mase, 1 minute. Linus Kaikai, 1 minute. And Lillian, 1 minute. Thank you very much.
Let us proceed as donated. I thought you were going to donate to some too, to make meaningful contributions. But give Honorable Karoli Omondi the mic.
Honorable Speaker, I was supposed to second this motion, but I was held up somewhere. So I'd prepared very extensively. I don't even know how to start. But Honorable Speaker, all great nations around the world have always been occupied with sports, whether they were Greeks or Romans. And if you look at the motto of the Olympics, Citus, which is faster, Altius, which is higher, Fortius, which is stronger, and Communita, which is together, they mean quite a lot, even for national development and cohesion. And this is the role of sports in our country. Sports have been very useful in breaking barriers amongst human beings. Hitler was not able at any point in time to hold the feat of James Cleveland Owens when he broke 5 world records and earned 5 gold medals in Berlin Olympics, proving that racism had no place. In our country, we have had some very able sports people. I remember Moses Kiptanui, who became the first man ever to win the 3,000 steeplechase under 8 minutes. And we had Eliud Kipchoge, the first man ever to run the full marathon under 2 hours. And most recently, the first Suba lady, Lilian Odira, to win 800 meters in Tokyo. But anyway, in terms of developing sports, I would like to propose, in addition to what CNN has introduced, that we focus more on development of sports. Before we talk about the reward system, let's talk about the development of sports. The cost of training our athletes so that they can achieve high performance. Who can...
Honorable Ndindi Nyoro.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, and thank you very much, Honorable CNN, my brother. I just want to make a few remarks. One is the reason why we must always take our sportsmen very seriously is because whatever they do is not for themselves, but for the country. The kind of marketing they do for Kenya goes into other sectors, including tourism, and the multiplier effect is felt more than in the field. And therefore, rewarding them appropriately should be our priority. The other thing, Honorable Speaker, is the role actually that sports play in the culture. As we know today, our country, Kenya, yes, it's a republic, it's a nation, it's a country, but after all is said and done, we are made up of several nations within our own nation. And what culture does, Honorable Speaker, is to help a country move away from the static identities, like the ones we identify ourselves with, and cultivate a fluid identity. That's what culture does, including sports. So that
Honorable Ndindi Nyoro must complete the statement he was making. Give him 30 seconds.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. I was just trying to say that, Honorable Speaker, what also culture does is to demolish the static identities. And what culture does is to give us way as a country to have more fluid identities that bring us together as a homogeneous people. So that constantly we continue running away from the static identities, especially of ethnicity, so that Kenya can continue to be one country, and culture and sports plays a very dominant role in that. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The Honorable Felix Odiwuor.
Thank you so much, Mr. Speaker, for this opportunity, and also thank Honorable CNN for this motion. And we hope that it comes here and becomes a bill. I had so much to say, but these are donated minutes, so I'll be very quick. Number one, I'll just talk about the rewards. We would propose that even immediately you are announced as a gold champion, even flying back, you should be upgraded. You saw when Perez was a world champion, and were it not for the cabin crew that recognized as the the world champion, marathon world champion, should have stayed in the economy class. Not that flying economy is bad, but this is the world champion. Secondly, we keep on losing so many athletes to countries who reward their athletes better, like Yavi, who runs for Bahrain. If we could reward our champions in the best way possible, they will be not leaving this country. And also, beyond rewarding, the development of sports and the facilities would be a very big thing. We request the completion of the Camarine Stadium to be fast-tracked, because we were in Marakwet the other day. The stadium...
Honorable Julius Tuitum.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, Mr. CNN, for this opportunity and for coming up with a very, very progressive motion. I want to implore to you to graduate this motion into a bill. Mr. Speaker, for the sporting activities to flourish to professional levels, we must tailor them. We must make sure that sporting is looked at the national level. I remember, Mr. Speaker, when we were in primary school, those who are taking part in activities, they were rewarded by getting even oranges or other things that could motivate the kids to do well in sporting activities. Mr. Speaker, the country is not looking at the sporting activities keenly. You remember that the money that was put into the NCDF kitty was removed.
Honorable Eric Muchangi. It's regrettable. I thought you would have 10 minutes.
Thank you. Thank you, Honorable Speaker. This is a very progressive motion by the Honorable CNN. Honorable Speaker, we were able to see how the sportsmen and women from this country exposed Kenya to the world in the just recent Japan Tokyo competitions. And only recently, how the footballers from this country entertained Kenyans and united the country around the sport. So this is a gold mine that we need to exploit by investing enough. And just like Taitumu has said, it was grievous of this House to pass an amendment, the NGCDF amendment, that did away with the sports fund. We need to revisit that matter and ensure that we have funds that can take care of sports right from the grassroots. Because we have heard stories of how football or
Honorable Mary Emase.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, Kenyan sportsmen and women have made Kenya proud and have put Kenya in the map of the world. And therefore, as proposed by this motion, they must be recognized and appreciated. Honorable Speaker, it is obvious that Kenya has talent. And I want to commend the President even for the development of sports academies that are being constructed across the country. More than 30 are ongoing. And I want to say that those sports academies must be concluded, resourced and equipped so that we can develop more talent and continue to fly the flag of Kenya high across the country. So I support this proposed motion to reward sportsmen and women, and we must have it, make it more structured so that the identification, all the processes to recognition are clear, and that the sportsmen and women are nurtured to ensure that Kenya wins more gold.
Honorable Kaikai Bissau.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, sir, and for Honorable CNN. Sports is a job opportunity. Sports is a livelihood. Sports unites us. I am here through sports. That is how I paid my school fees. And also, as a patron of a football team, the life of a sports person is very complicated. While we thank CNN for the post-retirement motion on about sports persons, but today, if you look even the allowances that our teams are drawing, an example, in a day, a Harambee Stars player earns 1,000. That is very low. So even during the active sporting, we expect that we look into this. And again, we want to thank the president. Like in Trans Nzoia, soon we'll also be beneficiaries of the sports complex, like Homa Bay, Siaya, etc. So in a nutshell, we also need to ensure that we've got good facilities across the country, and during the active life of any sports person, we have to ensure that it's treated as an employment with all the coverages being there. And I think that will help, because if you look at the current situation, whereby you're talking of giving
The Honorable Lillian Sioi, MP.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I also stand to support and congratulate Honorable CNN for coming up with a very such a nice motion. I agree that we really need to reward our sportsmen and women. But the biggest problem we have, Mr. Speaker, is that this reward we are talking about, we lose it in the hands of the private academy and the agents. Majority of our sports men and women don't have government nurturers who can help them nurture their talents, and therefore they fall in the hands of these people, and most of these rewards ends up in their hands. And that is why you find them with a lot of the rewards that they have been given, they are languishing in poverty, they have got nothing because it was taken by the agents, majority of whatever reward that they were given. So I stand to support that we should have enough facilities that are going to help our sports persons. We nurture them well, we reward them well directly, and we support them in whatever thing they are doing, because
Mover
to reply.
You barely have 1 minute to reply.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I intentionally brought this as a motion just as a way of public participation. You can see the interest is the motion to become a bill. And I can promise Kenyans that I am preparing the bill. I have done enough public participations, and the majority of the members who have not spoken, they will speak during the bill, when I'll be moving it very soon, if it is approved by the Speaker. With those few remarks, thank you so much, members, for the overwhelming support on this motion. And I promise the Kenyan athletes and all the sportsmen, we are going to work together so that we can actually get the benefits of sports in this country. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yeah, honorable members have confirmed we have quorum to transact business. I therefore put the following question. That are where order. I know Honorable Ndindi is a ranking member. Honorable Ndindi Nyoro is a ranking member. Yeah. That are where that sports play an integral role in promoting cultural heritage, national identity, national development, the well-being of the people, and sustenance of livelihoods, particularly of the youth, appreciating that sessional paper number 3 of 2005 provides a framework for sports development and operationalization in the country, further appreciating that the sector Plan for Sports, Culture and Arts 2018 by the Ministry of Sports, Culture and Arts mainstreamed sport development in the third medium-term plan, MTP3, for 2018-2022, under Kenya's Vision 2030, recognizing that the Vision 2030 aims at capitalizing on the country's international reputation as a world-class sports powerhouse, whose sportsmen and women have won international accolades and recognition, especially for their prowess in athletics. Concerned that despite bringing honor and national pride to the country, most sportsmen and women face a myriad of challenges, such as lack of psychosocial support and social protection, hence pushing many to alarming levels of mental health challenges during their careers and even after retirement. Noting that sessional paper number 3 of 2005 contemplated motivation of sports persons by the state through cash and material prizes, conferring state honors, appointments as goodwill ambassadors, and establishing contributory insurance and saving schemes, among other forms of motivation. Cognizant of the fact that the prospect of receiving state recognition, financial grants, and other perks inspire sportsmen to push their limits in attaining their full potential, as well as fostering a collective sense of pride in sport, urges that the government, through the Ministry of Youth Affairs, Sports and Arts, develops a policy and standardized sports reward scheme for recognizing the achievements made by sports persons in internationally recognized competitions through, 1,